where was Starmer, where was Macron, and where was Trump when Bashar al-Assad was firing away and they were still imprisoning good Syrians, starving them in prison? The asking for the passport is not to get a new identity and try to sneak back into a country. There are so many muhajirin who came from around the world who were killed in battle. There are many United Kingdom citizens who have gone to Israel to fight for the IDF, and they've been implicated in a genocide.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Analysis. I'm your host, Arfan Ali. Since the fall of the Assad regime in December 2024, a brutal dynasty that ruled Syria for 54 years, the country has entered a new chapter in its history. The Arab Spring and the ensuing civil war brought years of turmoil and devastation. During this period, Syria saw an influx of foreign fighters who joined the struggle to overthrow Assad, many of whom viewed their involvement as a fight for freedom and justice. A growing number of foreign freedom fighters are now petitioning the Syrian government for citizenship in a move that could reshape the country's post-war identity and raise significant legal and potential security questions. Now, to discuss this, we welcome the architect of the letter, Bilal Abdul Kareem, chief correspondent on the ground news. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum, Bilal, all the way from northern Syria.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It's good to be here, man. Good to be here.
So I just want to frame the context for our viewers. Just describe who you are and how long you've been working as a journalist in Syria itself.
Well, firstly, my name is Bilal Abdul Kareem. I'm originally from New York in America. And I have been here covering the war in Syria since 2012. I've been here a long time.
Now, this letter is you've been the lead on the actual signatories. You told me there's around 7,000 to 9,000 foreign fighters. Can you give us some of the context of these foreign fighters, where they're from, which countries they've come from, why they come, and why do they want to stay in Syria?
Okay, well, firstly, I'm representing the muhajirin. I don't claim to be the leader of all of the muhajirin and all, but I'm bringing this petition forward on behalf of the muhajirin who live here. They're from Egypt, they're from France, they're from the United Kingdom, they're from Pakistan, they're from America, they're from Chechnya, many different countries. As you know, they came here responding to the call of the Syrian people who were being bombed. Prisoners were being starved by then dictator Bashar al-Assad, and they came in big numbers in order to defend the Syrian people. The issue with that was that their coming here actually led to them, some of them losing their citizenship, and some of them that didn't lose their citizenship would be automatically accused of terrorism back in their home countries for coming to fight or participate in other sectors here in Syria. We know people like Tokir Taks Sharif, who is not a fighter, but he lost his citizenship and he's not even a fighter. So it's been a long war, and now it's time to legitimize the presence of the muhajirin here in Syria, because one of the issues is what happens if the man dies? What about his wife? What is her legal status in the country? Is she going to be asked to leave? Can she stay? What about the children? The muhajirin, for the most part, don't even have ID cards. So that's a problem. And look, we don't want to demonize the government, but we do want to encourage them to give some real energy to solving this issue, which is really not all that complicated.
You can understand that these individuals who are considered freedom fighters by the Syrian people, obviously themselves, they call themselves freedom fighters, can be seen as potential extremists or fundamentalists. That's why their citizenship was stripped from them. So they won't be allowed back into their own countries. If they were given a Syrian passport, potentially they could actually go back to, let's say, the United Kingdom, France, Algeria, or wherever they've come from, and cause havoc in the streets of those countries. Is that a legitimate concern?
No, it's not a legitimate concern, and I'll tell you why. Let's just say that I'm Bilal Abdul Kareem, and I'm from Egypt, and I have an Egyptian passport. If I go back to Egypt, I'm going to be imprisoned for doing for terrorism. So then I go to the government and I say I'd like to have a new passport, and my name is Bilal Abdul Kareem, and now I'm from Syria. What do you think is going to happen when I get to Egypt? It's the same result. So the asking for the passport is not to get a new identity and try to sneak back into a country that you've already been, you're already looking at trouble for. But sometimes people haven't seen their families in 13 years, and maybe they want to go to Turkey to travel there to see their family. Or maybe they want to go to Lebanon and their family would come from Pakistan to visit them, or from Canada to visit them while they're visiting in Lebanon. Maybe they want to go to another third country or something like that and live there or visit there. But the idea that they have a new passport and then they'll try to sneak back into their own home countries, this is not an attempt to mask anyone's ID. So what we're not trying to do is, if my name is Bilal Abdul Kareem, now I want a passport that says Abu Saif or Mustafa or Abu Abdu. That's not what this is about. It's about being who we are, and we are people who fought hard for this revolution, and nobody's trying to change their names and their identities and such like that. That's not the case. And nor would we accept that people are trying to change their identities. So that's not what this is about.
Now, coming back to this question, you can potentially understand, let's say, from the United Kingdom's perspective, why would an individual leave this country to fight a foreign war by a citizen who was born in this country? For them, especially in Europe and the Western countries, they may see this as a traits of extremism, so a threat to national security. Do you believe that they're on the correct trajectory here, and do they pose a national security threat to their home countries as well as the makeup of Syria, the new Syria?
Well, first of all, I would like to ask people who have that feeling. The first issue is that there are many United Kingdom citizens who have gone to Israel to fight for the IDF, and they've been implicated in a genocide. Nobody here has been implicated in the ICJ for a genocide, but the Israeli government has been implicated, and justifiably so. But no one is really saying that, well, will these IDF soldiers be a threat once they come back to the United Kingdom? I mean, let's just be real here. It's because they're Muslim. And once you go to a country that's a theater of war where you might have military training, then you might come back to be a potential terrorist. But I kind of thought that the punishment comes after the crime. And I think that we should hold fast to those principles. I don't think that these people are a threat to the United Kingdom. You had plenty of brothers and sisters who were here, learned military training, fought in battles, and then went back to the United Kingdom. None of them are blowing anything up. Nobody's doing anything to anybody in the street. I think that that's just scaremongering. I don't think it's anything more than that, and the numbers simply don't support it.
How has the government responded to the citizenship request from the foreign fighters?
Well, we're still waiting on a response from them. And alhamdulillah, we're hoping that we're going to get a good response, because at the end of the day, these are the people whom, the fighters were in the same trenches, sharing bread, eating candy bars while the rockets and bombs were falling around them. So, there's nobody strange here. There are no strangers here. Everybody knows who everybody is. So I'm hoping, and I'm I'm cautiously optimistic that they're going to look favorably upon this. They haven't done it so far. So this is just a kind of push in the back to say, come on, guys, let's get this done.
Now, from Ahmed Shara's perspective, he was a member of HTS, considered to have links with Al-Qaeda, which he kind of strenuously denies his kind of links with them. He's moved in now to a kind of formal interim role, distancing himself from such groups. Do you feel that if Ahmed Shara's interim government was to accept these foreign fighters as nationals of Syria, then the international community will kind of frown upon that decision, considering he's getting loans from or wiping off debt with the likes of Saudi Arabia, being welcomed by Donald Trump, as a potential bastion of democracy in Syria and the Middle East?
Well, I would say that, the first issue is that we wouldn't even be having this conversation if there were not fighters. And there are so many muhajirin who came from around the world who were killed in battle and, or giving everything that they had so that the Syrian people would have the freedom that they have now, alhamdulillah. So I think that to even have a conversation such as, would Trump be okay with it? Would Starmer be okay with it? Would Macron be okay with it? I would ask the question, well, where was Starmer, where was Macron, and where was Trump when Bashar al-Assad was firing away and they were still imprisoning good Syrians, starving them in prison? Where were all of those personalities at that time? Now, when those young brothers were running up on mountains, ill-equipped, outgunned, and outmanned, nobody was really saying at that time, well, guys, you know what? We should try to free the country, but we're not really sure if Starmer is going to be okay with it. We're not going to be sure what Macron is going to say. And we know Trump, he's fickle, so we don't know what he's going to say either. No, there was none of that talk. It was about first things first. We have to liberate the country from this tyrannical leader, Bashar al-Assad. And that is what happened, alhamdulillah, by the participation of the muhajirin alongside the good brothers who fought the good fight here in Syria. So now I think it's a little bit disingenuous if we're going to now start talking about who from the countries that didn't help, who from the countries that were demonizing those people who were fighting. But now, since it seems as if there is some benefit in cozying up to Syria, all of a sudden now we want to kind of discuss whether they would be okay with it. I mean, do we really want to have that conversation? That's the issue.
Now, the case of Shamima Begum was well known. A lady that from East London went from the UK, was groomed, brought over to, came willing with two other individuals to Syria as a kind of jihadi bride, according to some media experts here in the United Kingdom. She was stripped of her citizenship. Do you think the likes of Shamima Begum and others, it may suit the Western powers that they stay and remain in Syria as being, this is now Syria's problem, not ours?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I think that she came to Syria and what happened, happened. And we have to ask ourselves a question. Should this, I think she was 15, 16 years old at that time. Lots of 15 and 16-year-olds join gangs. They do it. They did it in New York. I'm sure they do it in London. So, yeah, is there a penalty to be paid for that? Sure, absolutely. And I totally get that. But did she really know what she was getting herself into at 15? Come on, guys. Let's be serious. That's the first thing. Second thing is that she's here, she's in Syria, and I think that she should be a Syrian problem. If the British government is not going to allow her to come back, then I do think that she should be allowed to stay here, and then we just move on from there.
But do you think
she doesn't look like she's a threat to anybody? But
do you think that the British government is then sidestepping her human rights to go back to her her country of, she was from the United Kingdom.
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time, please?
I said, do you think that this potential situation, this letter, will potentially deprive her of the right to go back and see her family in the United Kingdom if Syria does accept these foreign fighters into Syria itself? Then it becomes a serious problem, and potentially the likes of Shamima Begum will never be able to enter back into the United Kingdom. Or should they stand the test of time and fight for her to have recognition to go back to the United Kingdom to be able to see her family? Essentially, a lot of her lawyers said that she was groomed into making that decision.
No, I don't think that means that at all, and I'll explain what I mean. There are some, the option to accept Syrian nationality is up to the person. It's up to the individual. It's not a situation where we're saying if you are non-Syrian, it's obligatory for you to accept Syrian nationality if you're in Syria. No, this is not the case at all. She can, if she decided, hey, I want Syrian nationality, then that would be up to the government, because the petition is basically about those who fought and who aided and assisted the Syrian rebel forces. It's not for ISIS fighters. It's not for that. Again, I want to say it. It's not for ISIS fighters. Third time I want to say it. It's not for ISIS fighters. If the government wants to make a ruling based on her situation, they can do that. But this petition does not encompass her. But in terms of the others that the petition does encompass, they have the option to accept Syrian nationality, or they could say, hey, man, I'm good. I appreciate the offer, but, I've got my my Italian nationality, or I've got my British nationality, so I don't need it. And in which case, they're fine.
What about aid workers like Tox?
Well, his situation is the same. He would have the opportunity to say, yeah, I would like to accept Syrian nationality for myself, for my wife, and for my kids. Or he could say, no, I want to continue to fight the British government to get my citizenship back, which was unjustly taken from me. He should have the option to choose whichever one he thinks is going to work best for him and his family. This is not about forcing anything on anybody. It's about giving them the opportunity to be able to make a decision. Right now, most of the brothers and sisters don't have a decision to make.
How might the petition affect Syria's post-war reconstruction and social cohesion? We've seen that a lot of combatants may find it difficult to reintegrate into society, even if they're Syrians. Now they're combatants who fought a long and brutal war. On top of that, they are foreign to the country. Is there an issue of integration? And we've seen this because we've had some issues with the Druze. You've seen the Druze actually saying that, well, the HDS or Ahmed Shara's government doesn't represent us. We also seen the Kurds come out and say, well, the government doesn't represent us. The Alawites making complaints around their representation. Ahmed Shara has a very tall order to fulfill in terms of uniting his country on one mantra.
Well, first of all, in terms of integrating the Muhajirun into the society, that's a complete non-issue, and I'll explain. The northern territories have been closed from the Turkish side and from the other sides of the regime side for many years. Everybody who is eligible under this petition has been here between 10 to 13 years. Many of the brothers have Syrian wives and Syrian children who speak Arabic just like any other Syrian, nothing to integrate there. Some of the sisters that were here married Syrian men, or they married other muhajirs, but they've been here for 13 years. So there's no integration that needs to be done. It's already been done, by default.
What happens if this Ahmed Shara and his government say sorry, thank you very much for fighting, but we can't give you Syrian citizenship. Whether that might be internal pressures or external pressures, where do these individuals go from there?
Well, I think that it would be like if Ahmed al-Shara or the leader of any country, Saudi Arabia, all of a sudden says, okay, look, we're going to close all the masajid. Sorry, guys, no more salat and jama'ah. It would be a thing where then you say, okay, well, what would the people do? Well, of course, the people would then try to encourage the government to say, hey, come on, man, don't be like that. You know, these people did the right thing, and it's time to do the right thing by them. So I think that, dialogue and talking to the brothers and all. I mean, at the end of the day, who are we talking about? Are we talking about people who we're not familiar with? No, everybody here knows everybody. It's just now that the world is hearing names like Asad Shaybani and Ahmed al-Shara and all these other names. Those names are strange to us because we used to call everybody by different names and all. So it's not how you think, in terms of, this guy, he lives in the palace and we can't talk to him or something like that. It's not that kind of thing. So, I think that it's going to end favorably, and I think everybody's going to be happy. Because, like I say, the brothers and sisters from the Muhajirin are fighters, they are businessmen, they are people who work in the sector of relief work and aid. They bring computer expertise to the table. They bring a lot of benefit to the brothers and sisters here in Syria. And I don't think that even the local people see them as a burden.
Bilal Abdul Kareem, Chief Correspondent of On the Ground News, I would like to thank you for that really insightful discussion on the citizenship of the Syrian freedom fighters that were fought against Bashar Assad's regime. Thank you very much. I've been Arfan Ali. Please do join me again.